Uh, Good morning. Good morning.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Deuce. This is Davis Spindle.
Good morning.
I feel like I'm dealing with some adversity right now. You ever feel like you're spinning your tires a lot? Like the wheels are just moving and moving and moving, but you can't get any traction. And every time you feel like you may be getting a little bit forward, the next thing you know, you're just spinning in place a little bit and you weren't really moving forward. That was just you revving the gas, but the car wasn't going anywhere. That's how I feel right now. A lot of things in my life are just making me feel like I'm spinning in place. I'm working really hard. I'm not moving anywhere. And maybe that's just a small microcosm of how I feel on this particular day. But sometimes it gets really frustrating and tiring to take adversity and keep making it motivation. They say adversity is the most powerful thing on the planet because you can motivate with adversity to do incredible things, whereas success placates you. You get success in your life, you become complacent. You know, it's like in a relationship when the couple's kind of past the honeymoon stage, but they're still happy with each other, so everyone gets a little bit fatter. And you're just like, oh, you get that like boyfriend 15 pounds because you're just like, well, she's going to like me no matter what. And like at this point, I do the shopping and she kind of cooks and we have this thing going. So like, this relationship we're kind of doing is going okay. So like, she won't care if my body's not rock solid anymore. Well, that's success. And then you get placated and then you get that soft spot in the middle of your stomach that's like, I've been drinking a lot of beer and sleeping in a little bit and maybe not really getting it moving. But adversity is that crazy thing that puts a chip on their shoulder. And there's so many athletes of success that have it. And a lot of times they convince themselves of it, even if it's not true. Like Dustin Pedroia on the Red Sox, who you guys know I love. He's always been undersized, so there are people who doubted him. But he also won the Golden Spikes Award, which is like the best college baseball player in the country. So he says, oh, nobody believed me. Well, you won the best college baseball player in the country. So clearly some people believed in you. But it's not always, some people just need that edge, that need to believe they're the underdog even when they're not. But I'll tell you, it's exhausting because sometimes you need the payoff. And I feel like lately I've been turning adversity into motivation so much that it gets tiring. You kind of lose wind sometimes. But you can't give up. You have to keep tapping into how potent it is. So I don't know what's going on in your life. Maybe you're enjoying the spoils of success. And in that case, I'm telling you, don't get too complacent because there's always somebody hungrier. And a big theme on the Morning Deuce is about real success is sustained. Real success is sustained success. So you don't want to be the best in the world at something. I mean, you do, but what you want to do is be the best at the world at something for as long as you can. Keeping your success is what makes you very special. So if you feel like I do and your tires are spinning and things are getting frustrated and you don't want to dig back into that underdog mentality, take a minute, do what you got to do, and then just keep hitting the gas because eventually the car is going to go somewhere, and when it goes, it's going to go real fast. So that's my inspiration to myself and to you. If you're being successful, don't get soft. If you're not successful, work harder. Keep grinding. In the news just came up, we talked a little bit about George Zimmerman auctioning off his gun that shot Trayvon Martin, and the whole Black Lives Matter movement basically was a huge focal point that came out of that crazy court case when he was not found guilty because he was standing his ground. Well, that gun allegedly sold for over $135,000, which Martin says he is going to donate to the anti-Black Lives Matter movement and against Hillary Clinton somehow because he doesn't believe in her anti-gun policies. So that's where we're at right now. People are paying $135,000 for that gun, which I don't know if there's any gun in history that would warrant more than six figures. I'm trying to think, maybe like guns that George Washington used, like really old stuff like that. I don't know exactly what guns, like the gun, I don't know. I mean, that just seems crazy to me that historical artifact has that much value. I can't believe we place that much value on something like that. But it could be worse because in Venezuela, this amazing thing is happening where the country's in a state of emergency because a lot of reasons, but one is economically they've relied on oil very intensely, and I don't know if you follow the economy, but the price of oil is going down. Gas per barrel going down, oil per barrel, going down. So Venezuela's economy is tanking. They've imprisoned a lot of people speaking out against them, so much that they've denied paper and printing materials and ink to newspapers that don't support the current president, Nicolas Maduro. Nicolas Maduro, for you gringos out there who don't want my Spanglish version of Maduro, so melodic. So what Venezuela did is kicked up this beautiful thing where they can turn up the state of emergency one higher. So we use a state of emergency in the U.S. like, oh, there was a storm, state of emergency. And that just means the state can take funds from other parts of the state to deal with the emergency. Like, oh, this town can borrow stuff from this town and it's going to be fine. We just need to do it for legal purposes. Well, if the country gets to that level, then one state can borrow from another state. Well, in Venezuela, above state of emergency is the part where Nicolas Maduro basically takes total and complete power, like the czar of Venezuela, and denies certain basic human rights and liberties to people if the country is too out of control. So, when you think about things like George Zimmerman's gun and the Venezuela state of emergency getting to the state of dictatorship, the things you're spinning your tires about in your life, they're not as bad. So adversity helps with a little perspective. You want to keep the edge and feel like maybe there's something you could do and people don't understand and you're going to prove them wrong. But you also need to realize the adversity, if you're listening to this podcast, there's plenty of things going right in your life. I mean, the free time, the internet, all the things alone let me know that your problems are not the problems that truly are an issue for some people in the world. So that's the end of our part 1 today. Part 2, we have a couple today things to celebrate. One is, this happened yesterday, May 18th, 2007, Shrek 3 was released. Now, Dave, you might ask, hey, Dave, why is Shrek 3's release important? Because in 2007, you were a senior in high school. So why the hell did you care about Shrek 3? Well, that's a great question. I'll answer that because Shrek 3 had a coming-of-age moment for me. And not because Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy are laugh-out-loud funny and they made a crap ton of money by sequeling that movie as many times as they could. No, that is not the coming-of-age tale. Shrek 3 is important because it is the movie that I told my parents I was going to see in theaters when I was actually going with a bunch of my friends to a strip club for the first time. So I told my parents I was going to see an ogre, but instead I was going to see some beautiful women for some therapy sessions. And Dad, if you're listening right now, I'm sorry. The secret's out. I never saw Shrek 3. But I did go to a really ratty strip club in Billerica that had lost its liquor license, probably for serving to minors, which is why they allowed under 18-year-olds in there, and used money that I probably still had saved up from the summer and or money that I probably got from Mom to convince her that I was going to a movie and spent it on strippers. So happy anniversary to me, the first time I paid to see boobs, Shrek 3, so shout out to that. And there's a bigger historical impact to that because May 19th, 1962, which is the anniversary of today, well, that was when Marilyn Monroe gave her very famous Happy Birthday, Mr. President song to JFK at a fundraiser at Madison Square Garden. So Shrek 3 doesn't seem that bad when you're getting drunk and slurring happy birthday lullabies seductively to the president in an arena filled with people. Then, the ratty strip club in Billerica doesn't sound that bad. And maybe it was Danvers. Either way, it was ratty. It was real ratty. And then, to make it worse, talk about highs and lows for JFK. Well, May 19th is when Jackie O, his beautiful wife, passed away. I'm pretty sure he wasn't there to see it, so it might be NBD to him. But I'm just saying, a lot of sexual tension for our boy John F. on May 19th. And then lastly, and this is a teaser because part 2 has had a lot of sexual tension, I read a great article in GQ that I was turned on to by a friend, and the article was called When I Let My Mom Run My Tinder. And you guys know, because I've talked about my Tinder account on earlier episodes, but it was hilarious to me to hear this young man talk about his mother running his Tinder and how that worked. And he even said, he went viral on the internet because some girl took a screenshot of his chat, which is actually his mom's chat, and it said something like, "Who is Chris and why is he asking me what are my favorite types of snacks?" Because his mom's opening line to a woman in her mid-20s was, "What are your favorite types of snacks?" So, yeah, it was well written. It's a very hilarious article. I highly recommend checking it out. When my mom ran my Tinder through GQ. But what I have done is, because I don't really take online dating very seriously, and I've had a Tinder for a long time that I have not taken seriously for a long time, but occasionally will go out with someone, even if they're about to get married. So what I did was give access to that account to a young woman in her mid to early 20s, and asked her to run the account for me as a social experiment, because women always feel like they have better game than guys and they're the ultimate wing woman. Well, let's see you impersonate me and see how that goes. What's your chat game like? How you doing? So she has carte blanche to change any photos or the bio or whatever she wants to do. And basically she's swiping, seeing if she sets up a match, trying to get a chat together. And then if she gets the girl to agree to go out with me, she gives them my phone number and they text me and we go from there. And then I meet them sight unseen, basically no idea what we chatted about. Although maybe I'll have to scoop some info just so I'm not answering questions completely differently than I answered them on the app. But that should provide some excitement. So I'm sure as that process goes, we'll get some feedback. That's the end of the Morning Deuce today. I am going to start introducing some guests, so get excited. I think I'm going to do, starting next week, guest session Fridays, and I already have a couple lined up on a variety of different topics that I'm very excited about. So happy Friday, everyone. Happy Thursday, everyone. Friday is not here yet, unfortunately. Jumped the gun. Happy Thursday, everyone. Deuces, hashtagtrending.com. D spins out.